I read the news so that you don't have to. You know that man that supposedly wrote The Art of the Deal, where he just announced a $300 billion deal? Only thing is, it turns out it might actually be 40 million. So as you can see, the article says the question over Trump's historic refinery deal, $300 billion or $40 million. It's fine, we know some children were left behind and numbers are hard, but what's really going on? Basically, Donald Trump came out hyping up this historic $300 billion refinery deal in Texas. Sounds massive, right? Generational wealth, global power shift, all of that. And who's the company behind it? Reliance Industries, owned by Mukesh Ambani, one of the richest men in the world. The refinery in Brownsville would be the first new US refinery in 50 years. So politically, this is really a huge flex. But here's where it gets a bit messy. So let's take a little closer look at that $300 billion number, because it's not what you think. It's not actual money being invested. Oh no. It's a theoretical lifetime value, which is based on two things: 125 billion of oil the refinery might buy, and $175 billion of fuel the refinery might sell. So basically, revenue projections over decades. The actual upfront investment from Reliance, about $40 million. Not billion, million. In fact, it's so small, relatively speaking, that Reliance didn't even need to formally announce it to the stock market. Meanwhile, the refinery itself is expected to cost about $4 billion, so Reliance isn't even the main financial driver here. Instead, what's happened is that they've signed a 20-year agreement to supply and buy product, which is where that inflated $300 billion figure comes from. So Trump's headline, technically it's not false, but also it's just very much spin. And this is classic big number politics, because 300 billion dollars sounds like dominance, does it? Whereas a $40 million sounds just like a kind of test investment. This is where we see that US-India relations are really doing some heavy lifting, because this deal comes right after trade talks between the US and Narendra Modi. So Reliance, the company, have been lobbying hard in the US. And this Ambani-Trump relationship also goes way back. So this isn't just business. It's basically diplomacy dressed up as investment. You also have to consider the energy geopolitical backdrop that we exist in currently. The US is putting pressure on India to stop buying cheap Russian oil. Then it's reversing that pressure because of problems they caused in the Middle East. So Reliance is basically playing both sides of the global oil game and winning. Remember, when politicians quote huge numbers, you always have to ask if that's actual cash or vibes and projection. Because in this case, the $300 billion headline is doing a lot more work than the actual money.